it's not a sustainable approach for the industry.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Ready?
yeah. And what is a reasonable cost? You know, in other words, the public should know that they shouldn't overpay, right? They should be looking at $5 or $6 a watt.
Yeah.
And what watt do you use? The panel watt or the output watt?
There's so many things
I
that,
know.
yeah. There's a lot of education that could help people
I know.
in that area, for sure.
But, you know, what it does is.
But the microinverter to me has a real difference.
Is that what you got?
Yeah.
And they're working okay?
Yeah.
I like the ability to monitor every panel, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, then you know something's out,
Yeah.
and then, you know, you're more inclined to go follow it, right?
Better for shading, individual panel shading
Yes.
as well. So there's some advantages, just that they haven't been around very long, so.
I don't get the afternoon sun,
Yeah.
so it's not the right place. Okay, we're waiting on you guys.
FYI,
Sorry.
I missed what did not catch is your question to Will and his response of the educational.
Yeah,
We might have to go over that.
the community engagement.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
for
think we
the-
got a response yet.
The roadmap, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we kind of stopped in midstream.
Did they like put us on mute, or did you?
Hey, Will.
No?
Guy.
I think they put us on mute.
Come on, guy.
He's looking down at the Real close to the camera. I should catch their attention.
They don't care. There, guy.
We hear you now.
Okay.
We have a future in sign language. That's funny.
All right,
Let's
let's
not
get
drift
going.
off now.
Meeting is reconvened. Will, I think we left off before you had a chance to finish what you were gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we've done the stakeholder engagement is what's going on now, which is all the people that were interviewed. You know, there's a list of 30 or some odd people from around the state, but I am unaware that that's gone farther than that. I can report back to you via email. I really have not, I don't know what's happened after the stakeholder engagement.
Isn't that part of the contract for them to do public
Yeah.
engagement?
It is, correct.
So, when you say you're winding down the contract, you're finishing it out, are you gonna hold them to that?
I am personally, so, if you would give me a data report on that, I can see exactly where it's at. It is in the contract, it is what I'm gonna hold them to, but,
Okay.
I don't know beyond stakeholder engagement what's been done.
Okay, well, it's just that we had numerous presentations about all of these plans for them, and I understand timing got shifted, but I still think it's an important part of the process. And,
Yeah, especially now, I mean, the community has never wanted more information about energy, so, yeah, I totally agree with you.
and if one of the goals is to lead by example, you gotta get out there and let people know how you're leading. So, it's important, I think, on a number of fronts. But I would encourage you to, if at all possible, hold them to what they acknowledged that they were going to do with regard to the public engagement process.
I completely agree, and I believe they've hired Dave full, or whatever it is, part-time, and I hope that's exactly what he's hired for, but if you give me a couple days, I'll follow up with an email to you and the commissioners.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you.
Any update on IRP? Will,
Yes, sir.
any update on IRP?
It's really come to a head as far as, there's been a lot of arguing back and forth on what is the right scenario planning tools, and basically it's a matrix showing high fuel prices in the future versus do we want a utility model where the utility controls the generation, or do we want more customer generation? I think Maui County is being, we did 3 scenarios in the initial groups, and Maui County's really pushing for the matrix that shows more of a utility versus customer side generation model, and you know what the future will hold in high fuel prices. So the update on which scenarios we're going to pick is going to be October 25th.
A follow-up question regarding fuel prices. I know we went through a number of discussions when we were involved in IRP regarding future fuel prices. And with the advent of the potential of liquid natural gas being used as an interim fossil fuel, how does that play into the picture?
I think that Oahu, the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum, the gas company, Josh Strickler, who moved from the PUC to the gas company, I think there's a lot of momentum in Oahu for importing natural gas. I don't know if I'm specifically answering your question as far as how that rolls into the IRP, but Kyle Dada, who you know is talking about the billions of dollars in investment and infrastructure on importing natural gas and where it would go, is proposing against it. So I think that's still up in the air. I know that if you go to meetings in Oahu, it is discussed very, in very much detail, and there seems to be a lot of momentum for it.
Okay, again, you know, it's more educational right now for our community than anything else, right?
Say again, please?
Just getting back to the question of education.
Oh, education.
Yeah, you know, if HELCO is using it in their advertising or considering it, you know, how does it fit with our energy plans here for the county? Should we be looking at that, or just seeing what comes of the IRP process?
That's a great question. I know that the bigger question in our county right now is the biofuels question. So, I guess the way I'm thinking about it is the way Maui's thinking about it. If Oahu wants to go with natural gas, that could be a benefit for their island in getting natural gas for their units. And I guess we would look at it similarly. But right now, the Aina Koa Pono docket is discussing about 16 million gallons a year in biofuels for number one, Kohala, and maybe some other units. So maybe Curt knows more about the discussion of natural gas than I do. I haven't followed it as closely. I know lots of meetings have been called. One was called on Statehood Day in the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum. I did not go to it. Curt, do you have any?
Well, for HELCO, when Tom says we're looking at it, I think you first got to recognize, just as you mentioned, because of the economies of scale and the investment required, this is probably first in a Oahu type of project. However, the gas company has said they are acquiring this fleet of container tanks that could bring relatively small quantities to the Big Island. I think that the use for that would first be to resupply the Hilo underground utility gas system, which is propane now. But you can operate that system, as I understand it, on propane, natural gas mixtures. Now, there's barriers to that because then everybody in town, there's about, I understand, about 2,000 utility gas customers in Hilo. All of their gas appliances would have to be retrofitted with new orifices that meter the gas into the burners for their stoves, for their water heaters, you name it. So it's a big undertaking. So it's not something for the Big Island that would take place on a really short time scale. It's still really years away.
Yeah, and Guy may have some perspective because I believe natural gas and hydrogen have a nexus that maybe begets some transportation plays or some generation plays. Do you have any? I mean, you've heard more of the natural gas conversations than I have.
Yeah, but like Curt says, this is a real play for basically just Oahu. Because I mean, like right now, you know, like Hilo has propane, whereas Oahu, you have Hawaii Gas with their synthetic natural gas infrastructure in place already. They can then replace that with natural gas instead. So I don't think natural gas is going to make any kind of a play here on the Big Island.
Yeah, I know Maui thinks that they would have a benefit if Oahu went natural gas and imported it. They thought that they would be a beneficiary of some of that to their island.
The most promising utility application that I can recall having been proposed, and this would be on a more of a small scale, demonstration scale, was because LNG is a very cold, it's a cryogenic liquid, and you have to evaporate it to use it, say, in a generator. You could, in a demonstration project, you could vaporize that LNG with ambient air, which would, of course, would cool that air down. That air would then become the inlet air for a combustion turbine fueled by the vaporized LNG. So you get kind of a double efficiency effect of the cold inlet air as well as the use of the LNG for the fuel. But that's, like I say, that's just a concept at this point.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing I know, the overarching, like people say, context is it's still an import, it's still a fossil fuel, and whether we like it or not, Hawaii's not the biggest export market for some of these producers. I mean, at least what I've heard, you know, Naptha prices, like Hamakua Energy Partners uses, have gone through the roof because of Japan's need for generation post the nuclear, you know, disaster and the tsunami. So we are not, you know, no matter if natural gas is cheap today, it may not always be that way because, you know, we're not the biggest market that some of these providers can.
There are issues of shipping, the way the ships are flagged. They have to be U.S. flagged ships if they're carrying gas from the mainland. There's all sorts of infrastructural and shipping and engineering difficulties. And what I've heard is that even if it's shown to be a valid bridge fuel for Oahu, it's still 6 years away.
Right. And I guess the natural gas company has found that the economics are there for them, and it makes sense today. And so they've got a pretty good story. So I know in Oahu, it's really being discussed and really being, if you will, sold to the legislators. So it is something that's very much on the table.
So I think, you know, the discussion we're having now is very worthy. And again, I'd like to caution you, Will, about using the word cheap and energy in the same breath.
Yeah, I mean, that's problematic.
The common theme here is Tommy.
I was surprised that, you know, Sebastian, I asked him what they pay in Germany for energy. I was surprised it was 30 cents, but so, yeah, I guess cheap and energy are not currently working well together.
Thank you, Will.
Well,
Okay, any other questions before we move on?
let's move on. What I'd like to do is interrupt the agenda flow and take things out of order a little bit so that we can be assured of getting through the editing of our draft transition report. And that way we will have it complete for the next meeting to approve and be completed in time. So let's skip ahead. And I don't know if all of you folks have your comments in the document there. What I'd suggest doing is going through this section at a time, and we'll take comments as they come and make notes. I will adjust the draft file, and Dot's going to take notes as well, so we'll be able to back each other up as far as ensuring we capture everything correctly in this document. So let's start with section A. And this section is the commission structure, purpose, and makeup. Are there, and just to preface this exercise, what I did when I got the different sections that were assigned to everybody, I mostly just cut and paste. I did do a few transition things as far as making sure things flowed together and there wasn't redundancy in some areas. But I really didn't change the text in any substantive way. And I did move things around a little bit in terms of putting a lot of the things that were being referenced in an appendix rather than the body of the report. Otherwise, we would have had a report that was 30 pages, and now it's 10 or so. And so that's, I think, more manageable. It's just a call that I made as far as a way to organize the thing. So I hope that's an acceptable approach to everybody. This is obviously something that's evolving as we speak, and just came up at the last meeting for the first time. So let's go through the sections, make sure that any changes anyone wants to make are incorporated, and assuming that everyone agrees. So I suppose we need to, do we need to do this under a motion? I don't think we're acting to approve at this point, so we don't need a motion.
No.
Yeah, we're just gonna edit this. So section A, commission structure, purpose, and makeup. I'll offer my comment first. I think after purpose, we ought to include the duties and responsibilities, which is Rule 4 as well. And that, again, it speaks to what it is that we're supposed to be doing as a commission.
Rule 4 of.
The rules of practice.
Oh,
and-
rules of practice. Okay.
Yeah. And those are things like Rule 4, duties and responsibilities. In carrying out its purpose, the Hawaii County Energy Advisory Commission shall, and then there's A, B, C, D, and E. And so I think that's useful to have in this first section. And keep in mind that, we don't know who's going to be using this report. It may be us, and we may just use it to chart our course for the next set of activities we engage in, or it could be an entirely new commission. So we have to keep that in mind. That's why we're trying to make something that's more broad in terms of not necessarily assuming that there's a lot of assumptions that go into this. It's pretty straightforward in terms of what's being presented here. So that's the first addition that I'd like to include for this section. And then the only other thing I wanted to revise in this section was under organization. I think it would be helpful to list the makeup of the current commission in terms of the members. And
Is that not said later on in your structure?
it's said under the committees. but the committees, you know, it doesn't actually, it doesn't specify the makeup of the commission. It specifies the makeup of the committees more. And while someone could go through that and pick it apart, I think it's just more direct to say, these are the commissioners at this point in time. And that, you know, and that one seat remains to be
Okay.
filled,
Okay, okay.
you know, and that's a very simple addition to that section. Does anybody have any other thoughts about additions to the section A? Everyone okay with those? Okay, let's move on. Section B was the section on committees. The only question I had in this section was, I thought Linda, and because she's not listed under any of the committees here, I thought she was on the Education, Training, Workforce Development, Outreach Committee.
With the guy, yeah? Guy.
Linda and I swapped.
That's that way.
So what does that mean? She took what?
Buildings.
Okay, because you're listed under buildings here, so.
That's where I was originally, yeah.
So we're gonna put Linda under the buildings category, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay,
Well, I thought Rod was on a committee at that time too, no? In 2011.
well, the committee, we're only talking about, okay. So, let's see,
He was originally on transportation early on, and then I forget where he moved.
latter half of 20, so we're trying to list the final makeup of the committees here, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Because it did switch around, I think that's relevant to do it that way.
There's no Richard Nelson coming.
He was
He's
on the technology.
He's shown here.
Is he still a member?
No, but he was on the committee. And then
So that, I mean, we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
And,
Mr. Chair? It was the April 5th meeting that you all changed committees.
Yeah.
You need to check the minutes.
okay. Education, training, workforce development, outreach, was that Mike and Guy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. It was originally Mike and Linda, and then,
Okay,
yeah, so that's correct, as it is now.
okay. Any other modifications to the names and the makeup?
Only if we want to keep Richard on or not.
So, what do we think about that? Richard, in April, was he still,
no.
No.
he was gone. So I'd say let's take him off. Does that make sense? I mean, we're talking about what the makeup is
As you're
of the
leaving it,
committees at this, when we transition, so,
Yeah.
It just-
okay. Let's remove,
So the committee will
Richard's name.
stand, but the member
yeah,
will be, you know,
okay,
chairperson or whatever.
I think that's fine. Anybody else have other comments on the section B?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah, under committee accomplishments, the first sentence there says, for more than a year, the 6 initial committees researched and compiled priority energy initiatives for the county to pursue in the near term. I think it shortchanges a little bit what the committees did. Research and compiled sounds pretty easy. There's a lot of analysis was done, calculations were performed. I would just want to insert a couple of words. The 6 initial committees researched, comma, developed, comma, and compiled priority energy initiatives, and on to the rest of the sentence.
Research, developed, and compiled.
Right.
okay.
I like it.
Now, everyone can see I highlighted the appendix, and I just did that so we can track where they are and make sure that it's correlated. We'll take the highlighting out in the final version. Anything else in section B? Okay, let's go on. I think the most significant section obviously is the, section F, what are the next steps? So a lot of these are more documenting what has occurred already.
Section C is entitled.
Recommendations made to the mayor and their status. Now, this one, a lot of the material was moved into 2 appendices. And tried to put some language in there to refer to that. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it,
Okay.
because otherwise it was just humongously long.
Yeah. Okay. Are we okay then with the language of section C? Everyone okay? All right, very good. Section D.
Hawaii Energy Sustainability Program.
Sorry, I wrote mine. Thank you very much.
Anyone have any edits to section D? Okay. I assume if you have edits, you noted them and are ready to speak to them, so we won't wait too long for your answer. Section E is the public information forums. Maybe, okay. I don't know that we need the EAC in the title. What do you think?
Public information forums is, it is our EAC document, so no need to go keep repeating that all over the place. So
I'll
I agree.
take that out. Okay, now Rod had a note in here about whether or not we name the potential moderator.
I agree with Ron.
We should eliminate it.
Take it out?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, so we'll take that last sentence out of the second paragraph, is that right? Under purpose and format?
Is the last sentence?
I'm gonna mention of the name.
So it begins with several moderators are known. We just remove that whole sentence, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the second to last paragraph, we talk about the enabling remote access to the forum.
Yeah,
And it talks a lot about, all the possibilities that we considered and factors and stuff like that, but there's no statement of what we finally decided, if we did.
No decision.
I think we're still in the planning stage, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, I think a statement to
Yeah.
that effect, I would just say maybe add a statement that, no final plan has been prepared yet for this option.
Do you want to suggest language and where it goes?
Yeah, at the very last sentence, just say that with the many unresolved issues, comma, a final plan has not been completed.
That's after Appendix D, right?
Yeah, just to give closure to that.
With the many unresolved issues, comma, final plan has not been completed.
Yes.
Everyone okay with that? Okay, let's move on. Okay, section F, this is the one that I would think most folks would have, if any, comments on. This talks about what is next on the agenda for this commission or the next commission, if a new one is appointed, and what are some of the recommendations in terms of guidance that we could provide for direction. I have some edits that I want to suggest in this section, and I guess I'll just go through those first. Under A, the first recommendation, second bullet, currently it says, conversely, the commission desires to provide a venue where residents' questions about the county's and state's energy programs can be addressed. And I added to that, and local community level insight can be delivered to the EAC regarding possible energy initiatives involving these communities. So it's not just answering their questions in terms of having an energy forum, for example. It's receiving their insight into issues about their own communities, energy in their communities.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. Conversely, the commission desires to provide a venue where residents' questions about the county's and state's energy programs can be addressed, and local community level insight can be delivered to the EAC regarding possible energy initiatives involving these communities. It's just saying we're gonna not just answer questions, but take feedback and gather information.
Okay. Just trying to figure out how that is the converse of the first one with adding that language, but that's minor point, you know.
Oh, where it starts conversely.
Yeah, when you start
Yeah.
talking about getting feedback, when you talk about feedback, it's two-way feedback is what it is.
Well, we can remove the word conversely.
Probably would be cleaner.
Yeah, let's just take that out. Okay. Second, anyone else have comments on Initiative A? Okay, Initiative B. B states, examine and recommend education and outreach initiatives as well as training programs for applicable energy programs. I changed the wording slightly to say, examine and recommend education and outreach initiatives as well as training opportunities for applicable energy programs. Okay? And then, first bullet. The commission, that actually wasn't a complete statement, and so I completed the first bullet. It says, the commission has determined that the success of the County of Hawaii to achieve its stated energy goals within the Vision 2015 Green Government Action Plan, and then I added, will require additional training and staffing. I don't really know what the end of that sentence was. I added words that I thought made sense, but it wasn't there. How does that sound? Does anyone else want to infer what that ending of that statement might have been? That was Linda.
Which one again now? See?
B, first bullet.
It's as good a speculation as any. It makes sense what you said, so.
Okay.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
All right.
I can't think of anything. I mean, I work with Linda on
Yeah.
this. And
Okay, good.
I do have, with the second bullet, I got a
Okay.
question. Okay, so it infers that there are three originations of energy usage: county activities, individuals, and commercial enterprise. And of course, there are also nonprofits, there are military, there is federal, state. Okay, so I think maybe just stop with saying approximately 5% of energy use originates from county activities and just put a period there because there's just
Okay.
so many other.
I think it makes the same point.
include Department of Water Supply.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
We
We should
should-
say from county activities, which includes the
includes
Department of
Department of
Water
Water
Supply.
Supply. Activities. Okay, which includes the Department of Water Supply. I added a comma after, in the next sentence after sustainability.
All right.
Must understand not only the critical need to wean ourselves off imported petroleum, but also the actions they can take individually or as businesses. And I just added at the end to become more energy sustainable as a completion. Anything else? Okay, let's go to C. Any comments on Initiative C? Okay, I have a couple of wording edits. On the second bullet, I said instead of the commission looks forward to, I said the commission should encourage the mayor's adoption. We're giving guidance basically, or expressing our desired action here. And then later in that bullet, with that consent, comma, the commission will, I just crossed out proceed to, I just said will work with a variety. And then the last bullet, I basically reiterated what was stated in the initiative by adding to the end of that, after roadmap, and will explore public-private collaborations that can assist in its implementation while complementing the broader goals of energy sustainability for Hawaii Island. So that sentence would read, if those edits are accepted, going forward, the EAC will continue to strongly recommend that the county lead by example in implementing the Hawaii County Energy Sustainability Plan 5-year roadmap, and will explore public-private collaborations that can assist in its implementation while complementing the broader goals of energy sustainability for Hawaii Island. Is that okay?
Since the commission is here to make recommendations to the mayor, on the second bullet, perhaps we can strengthen it by saying the commission recommends the mayor's adoption and support of this plan. It's suggestive, correct?
Well, this isn't going to the mayor. This is a report going to the next, well, it's going through the mayor, but it's going addressed essentially to the next commission, right?
For the mayor, right?
The report's actually, it's for the commission, whoever succeeds us or ourselves in terms of what we're suggesting that the next commission do. Now, it's a little different than making a recommendation directly to the mayor for his action in that sense. Does that make sense? I don't really have a problem with that language, but I think just in terms of the context of the report. Any thoughts on that?
Either way is fine.
D. I'm not gonna go through all the appendices one by one like this. I'll just ask if anyone has comments on the appendices. So this won't take as long as it might appear to. The initiative D, anybody have edits on D?
Yes.
Okay,
I think part of what came out of our development process of the initiatives was identification of some additional research needs, and I'm wanting to put that into another bullet here, or incorporate in one of the bullets. I haven't really formulated the words, but let me try.
okay,
Yeah, maybe a third bullet, that the commission should I want to say enumerate, should list the research priorities of the county, and encourage that research to be done to provide additional information needed to flesh out the various initiatives.
the commission should list the research priorities of the county and encourage,
That research.
That research to be done that supports the continued development of the recommended initiatives.
Okay.
So basically, we're recognizing that some of these need more work. To do this work, we either have identified or will identify more research so that we can crank that back in and further evolve the initiatives. That's what I tried to say in those words.
is it list or identify?
Identify,
Okay,
sorry.
should identify the research priorities.
But can I see if I got something wrong, different, so I just wanted to.
Okay.
The commission should identify the research priorities of the county and encourage that research to be done to provide additional information needed to flesh out the various initiatives. But you can reword that, yeah.
Well, the second time it came out different.
Right, it did.
What I have is, the commission should identify the research priorities of the county and encourage that research to be done that supports the development of the recommended initiatives.
That sounds better, that supports.
Does that make sense?
There supports the what?
The development,
The development of the.
or the
recommendations.
further, the development of the recommended initiatives?
Tell you what, Steve, in your final edit, I'll trust you to wordsmith that a little bit. We've got the basics. but,
Okay.
yeah, no sense spending
No, I-
too much time on it.
Okay.
But this one's, I read it this morning.
In the bullet above that, the second sentence I modified to say, the commission should continue to seek out expert advice, rather than it is the intention of the commission to. These are recommendations to the future commission, so just the wording,
You see,
okay? All right, E. Any comments on E?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's meant by, in the first sentence, supply disruptions become entrenched. Or are we talking about sustained supply disruptions?
Yeah, there could be a different way of saying that. I think that's the intention.
In the event that energy prices escalate rapidly and are sustained at a high price, or in the event of long-term or serious supply disruptions.
Long-term or serious,
Supply disruptions, comma.
okay,
Yeah, eliminate the words become
Okay.
entrenched.
okay. Okay, moving on to F. Any edits to initiative F? Okay, let's go to G. We've got, I think, 3 left here. I had a few modifications for G to suggest.
I do too. Just want to try to stay consistent in the terminology we used. In the item G statement there,
Mhm.
it says, talks about develop energy efficiency programs that can persist, and I think usually we would probably say that can be sustained and pass on savings to the public.
Okay. Right now it says, understand, encourage, and support county departments, particularly DPW, DWS, DEM. I wasn't sure what DEM was. And Parks and Rec.
Environmental management.
Oh, okay. In their energy savings initiatives, energy efficiency programs that
That can persist. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, that can be sustained.
the way I worded it was, in their energy savings initiatives and assist in the support for energy efficiency programs that can be sustained and pass on savings to the public. And assist in the support for instead of to develop. Okay.
I'm gonna add anything regarding communicating the measurement and evaluation information necessary on these programs.
If you want to insert that somewhere, you need to find out exactly where you want to do that. I think it's certainly of value to make reference to that. Think about that. Let me go back here and state the edits that I made to this section. In 2012, the Commission had the opportunity to meet with representatives of Finance, Parks and Rec, and I put Public Works instead of Facilities, and then period. The Commissioners learned how each of these departments integrates energy conservation into their operations, and in turn had made suggestions of additional conservation opportunities as well as avenues available to department heads. And I put there, in support of energy-related training for their team members. To go on, I also added more text that says, the Commission should continue this process to ensure that recommendations are being embraced and to explore these matters with other departments as well, including DWS and DEM. Does that sound okay? Want me to read it again? Yeah? Okay. The Commission, this is the last sentence, should continue this process to ensure that recommendations are being embraced and to explore these matters with other departments as well, including DWS and DEM. Okay?
I'm still trying to figure out how we can emphasize the importance of the measurement and evaluation.
You want to just put another bullet under that section? Is that the right section for that?
Because that's what we did here at the September meeting, right?
There was discussion about that.
Okay.
you wanna just add another bullet then? To
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we'll add another bullet.
Okay. So what do you want to say? Something like the commission should encourage meaningful monitoring and evaluation for
And reporting.
energy savings
Yeah.
activities or something like that?
Yeah, go ahead and do that, and reporting to, the public as well as employees.
So just a little shameless self-promotion there,
Yes.
a little bit.
A lot, we need a lot. Same with you.
Everybody needs it.
Okay, let me read back what I wrote here. The commission should encourage meaningful monitoring and evaluation activities with respect to the energy initiatives pursued by the departments and report on these appropriately.
Okay, good.
Or, wait, that might be confusing. Who's doing the reporting? I don't want the commission to have to do the reporting. And the departments should report on these appropriately or something like
Yeah,
that.
To the purpose.
to the, or shouldn't we say to the public and to the employees?
Okay. The departments should report on these to,
Their employees and the public.
okay.
Thank you.
H.
Yes.
I have some comments, but I'll let you go first as well on that
Okay,
one.
thanks, yeah.
Yeah,
First bullet there,
yeah,
too many words. I think it muddles the meaning. I think it just should state Hawaii County has an abundance of renewable energy resources.
Period.
Yeah, you could do that, or
Leave the
you
rest.
need to add hydro and you need to replace wave with ocean. Okay, that's what I think. Or we can just stop there.
what do you wanna do?
Period.
Period, okay. Hawaii
Period.
County has an
The
abundance
resources.
of renewable energy resources, period. Because we name them elsewhere.
Yeah.
Here, so that doesn't need to repeat
Okay.
that, yeah. The second bullet, did we strongly recommend that? I mean, as I read that,
Well,
that stays narrowed down to the one lowest cost source.
I
and
took
use
that bullet
all-
out because of the challenge in actually defining even what lowest cost means. I
Yeah.
mean, that could go on for pages. So that's a tough one, and I also agree we did not develop that strong recommendation.
Well, we've talked of a diversity of
Yeah.
sources, so that this would seem to imply narrowing it down to just one.
Yeah,
I wanna go there.
and just the whole definition of lowest cost is really, really challenging, as we all know. So,
Well, I'll admit I put that in there. And it's all based on listening to the mayor talk about energy and what's been going on. But it's okay to take it out.
okay. And then, on the third bullet, instead of referring to the lowest energy costs in the state, I changed it to say, and it's just for consideration, EAC to assess and recommend options to the mayor for increasing the utilities' renewable resources to their highest possible levels.
So you change it to a positive.
Yeah, and it's more on renewable resources versus, and this initiative is about the utility, right,
Right,
in general.
yeah, and here we're generalizing it, right? Unless you talk about the utility.
Yeah. So I changed that to increasing the utilities' renewable resources to their highest possible levels. And again, it's this whole thing about how you define cost and all of that, that is just really challenging. Because do you include externalities? I mean, on and on you can go, you know, so. I think we're in agreement, everyone can agree that we're trying to increase renewable resources to the highest possible levels. Does that work for
Yeah.
everyone? Okay. And then, let's see, transportation. On the second bullet, and I wasn't sure if this bullet as an initiative rather fell under initiative D, but we can leave it separate because I think it's worth pointing to transportation as something separate, even though it's included in the 5-year roadmap. The second bullet I changed to say assess and recommend strategies for the increased use of electric vehicles. Because we can recommend they increase them all they want, but without a strategy, it may not get very far. So, okay.
Suggestion. The first bullet, what are we really saying? EAC could assess alternate fuels. Will assess? Plans to assess?
Should.
Should assess? Yeah.
Well, again, you know, it becomes a cost factor. So unless we define a
Well, I
budget.
mean, we did look at alternate fuel sources up to now, so aren't we just
Mhm.
saying we plan to continue
Yeah.
to do that?
Should continue to.
And should continue to assess alternate fuel sources.
Okay. And then this is the last initiative. Anyone have any thoughts on that one? I changed the wording around a little bit on the initiative itself. Well, I took the last sentence out because that really wasn't a recommendation for the next commission. And it was referencing something that isn't really referenced here. I have it saying right now, if approved by the mayor, consider making recommendations supporting appropriate Hawaii County energy policy making at the County Council and Planning Commission to assist with implementation of the 5-year roadmap. Because, yeah. Supporting policy making. If approved by the mayor, consider making recommendations supporting appropriate Hawaii County energy policy making at the County Council and Planning Commission to assist with implementation of the 5-year roadmap. Does that make sense?
I'm okay with that.
Okay? And then does everyone agree about the last sentence?
Sure.
Taking that out? Okay,
It's not a recommendation.
yeah. That's all I had for the body of the report. Does anyone else have any other edits for the body of the report itself? Okay, let's move on quickly. And if anyone has any edits for any of the appendices, and I'll start with Appendix A. I didn't include it in here. That's something that we have as an external document that we can cut and paste into Appendix A.
Mm-hmm.
That's the list of prioritized initiatives by committee.
The,
That chart, remember?
chart one?
Yeah, so we're just gonna stick that in.
that was assigned by the So we had two versions then, right?
The final version was the prioritized version by committee.
Okay, that's the one you want.
That's the
Okay.
one that would go in here. And that again, I don't have it here, but it's the chart layout format that we have
Yes, okay.
of all those initiatives. Okay. Any recommendations for edits on Appendix B? There was something in here that was highlighted, waiting for mass transit to qualify this statement. You see that, Curt?
Yeah, I see it. Will, did you get a chance to talk to anybody in county transportation as far as that park and ride, or?
Yeah, there's supposedly the mass transit will be run from a state perspective on neighbor islands. So this is news to me. I didn't get any further details. You know Tom Brown is. Go ahead, guys. Oh, well, I know Tom Brown has retired, but there's something in the works that the state is going to be the master entity. So I guess that they said that comment was what they would like me to print. They'll be working with the state on mass transit matters.
That's good enough then.
So
That
what
is
we
a-
have
that is
here
a
is
date,
acceptable, just take out the highlighted,
yeah. I would say so.
okay.
Is that okay with you, Will? Just take
Yeah,
out,
I
just
mean,
take out that
that's
waiting
needed.
for, okay, I think
I
we know
didn't get
enough.
more information than that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to correct in this appendix?
3 or 2 hydrogen buses. No, we had that discussion earlier, right?
Yeah. I think they said two guaranteed that guy reported two guaranteed.
Where is this?
I'm not sure, because I'm not
Oh.
following this, but he's mentioned
Okay.
if there was 2 or 3 hydrogen buses, Tommy's question was.
Is there anything we want to change?
Will?
I think the latest I've heard is 3, but Mass Transit did report that it's 2, but I keep hearing 3, so I don't know if we want to write 2 to 3.
2, possibly 3.
2, possibly 3.
And wasn't it 2 at Volcanoes National Park?
That's correct. Those are the first.
Okay.
So do you see somewhere you want to inject an edit into the text?
The last part, that's second.
A total of, you want to just say 2 to 3 there?
Yeah.
or- Okay. Anything else with this appendix? Let's go to the next one, Appendix C. These are the second set of recommendations the commission made to the mayor this year. And a summary of the status as well. Okay. I didn't expect we'd have a lot of edits to the appendices. Okay, so the next one, Appendix D, this is just the OIP office response.
By cutting and pasting that, it doesn't look like an email, yeah? It doesn't come out looking like an email when I first saw it.
Oh, we have to black out.
You have to
the
black
email.
out your email address,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be public record.
We could in the title say email response. I mean, does that help? I'm not sure that it matters.
I don't think it matters.
Okay. Okay, next one, Appendix E. These were just some of the documents that we had worked on as we began to plan for the energy forums. And so these are materials that can be built off of and were useful to keep around. And I don't think there's anything really, that's Appendix E, F, and G. And I think that was it, right? So are we good with it as modified to create a final version that we can all look at one last time and approve at the next meeting? Okay. Sounds good to me. Let me just save this.
Yeah, it'll be okay if all of us are the same ones that attend the next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, I know you're gonna come to it later, Steve,
I
but
tried to look
joint
for
meeting
good
next one, right?
synonyms.
Excuse me?
You wanted a joint meeting.
Yeah, next
one.
time, yeah.
I do have a
Save.
location.
Okay, good. Just save that. Okay. So, next on the agenda, we have 13 minutes left. I'd like to acknowledge Freesia, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name last
That's
time.
okay.
For whatever reason, it was written down wrong. But thank you for coming and being really patient with us. I know, you were ready to go early on in the meeting and you had to run out. And so we're moving things around anyway. Let's make this your time to introduce yourself and what you're here to do at the county.
Sure.
And you don't have to sit apart from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to the
Can you
table.
go to over there and across there, please, so we can get you loud and clear? Hello, I'm Freesia. I've been in R&D for about 6 years, and in the past, my primary areas of responsibility was in community outreach and engagement, which ranged from a variety of initiatives from disaster preparedness to community development plans, etc. After that, they assigned me the Financial Empowerment Initiative, and now I'm being asked to sort of do financial empowerment and sustainability, and finding ways to infuse both, and then really focusing not only on implementing the Green Government Action Plan, but also to sort of work with the Hawaii 2050 Sustainability Plan and see how we can look at sustainability for Hawaii Island holistically and then reach our communities, individuals, and families. And so going to the Green Government Action Plan, I've been working with Will to sort of assist PNR with the installation of variable frequency pool pumps, and we're going to connect them with Hawaii Energy to get them some rebates. I believe they put out an RFP. I'm not sure where they're at in the process. We're going to meet with PNR, Clayton Hanma, and Hawaii Energy on Friday, so I can figure out where we go from here. So Will and I feel like that's sort of the good first step in working with county facilities and energy efficiency. We're also, since Brandon Laverne also told me to focus on county employees, I'm sort of coordinating with Hawaii Energy some workshops on energy efficiency. Basic workshops to raise level of awareness. And I believe Carl will be doing that alongside of Helen Y. And Helen Y has a strong background in working with communities, so the hope is that between the two of them, we can reach all of our county departments. There's been a lot of interest, so we're happy about that. So that should be starting at the end of November. Another thing that we're trying to do, Will and I have been working with various departments to get a contract going with the facility dudes. Have you guys heard of them? It's a utility tracking service through NACO, and they're offering us a 12-month free trial to set up a utility tracking service for the county. So that should be going, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers by the end of November as well. And that way we can get a baseline sort of snapshot of our energy consumption. And Will recommended that we should start with the top 50, was it, Will?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna
Go
do the
ahead.
top 10 that we've already got projects lined up for, and then we thought if we got the top 50, it would probably represent maybe like 60 to 7% of our energy use. We do have 500 accounts with HELCO, and we would only be taking the ones that didn't include the Department of Water Supply. Department of Water Supply is 2/3 of county's energy usage at approximately 20 million a year, and the rest of county is 10 million. So that's the part that Prisha is going to try to work with some free monitoring of the $10 million worth of accounts, and we think we can find 5 to 7 million in 50 accounts. We think, we're not sure yet.
Right, okay, so that's another thing that we're trying to implement through the Green Government Action Plan. Another activity that we're going to start is to reconvene the sustainability representatives, the county sustainability representatives, to go through and identify other projects that we can initiate in the next fiscal year or so, and see what the priority is based on their recommendations. So with regards to Hawaii 2050, what I've been doing is working with the planning department and checking in with them on their sustainability initiatives through their CDPs, and seeing how R&D can support and help to implement those policies. Examples are like food sustainability, preserving culture and sense of place, and then some housing resources. Another thing that I'm embarking on is to work with our Ho'ovaivai network, which consists of public, private, community organizations, to sort of start up this notion of empowerment centers through which not only are we going to be providing financial empowerment services, but also we're going to be providing sort of green trainings for the community, focusing on also green businesses as well as small businesses. That's still in the works. I can't give you any more details than that because I haven't gotten any MOAs approved for that yet. So I've been assigned this initiative for 1 month. And so I think we're moving along quite well. Lots of activities going on, and I'm really excited to be a part of this. So I welcome your recommendations, your ideas, suggestions as to how we could further the sustainability initiative, not only within the county, looking at our facilities and education and outreach, but also you have ideas on how we can assist the community, families, youth, with education.
How many on your team?
Yeah.
So you partner with people to get things done.
Yeah, I've got that whole Vai network I talked about earlier, and that's how I've been getting a lot of the work done, because I'm a one-woman show. So, as we all are in R&D, pretty much.
How do you work with Will when it comes to energy matters or initiatives or projects or whatever? What is the division of responsibility?
Oh, good question. I think we meet through the Green Government Action Plan. And that's where we'll begin to work together a lot. So facility dude, the PNR pool pumps, and then eventually lighting. That's probably where we work together. And because he's got the technical background, and I don't, I probably rely on him for that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is this financial empowerment initiative that you spoke about?
That's through our network. We work to provide low-income families with asset building opportunities, counseling, education, and then we're starting up these centers through our partners to provide these services to the communities, using our partners and their clients as a natural entry point into communities.
Can you give an example?
Hope Services is a service provider. I'm sure you heard of them. They work with the homeless population. They sort of took over the Uluvini housing complex in Kona. And what we did this past tax season was offer free tax time services at their community center. And the hope this year is to provide not only tax time services, but also one-on-one financial education, and then energy efficiency workshops to the families. This is the target audience that we'd like to service. And so that's an example of an empowerment center, bringing in all of the services that are already being provided and connecting them to a place where they have the clients that we're trying to reach. So that's an idea of what an empowerment center could look like. An empowerment center could also be at a business. For example, ABC stores are going to start working with us on providing services, financial empowerment services, such as one-on-one counseling and tax time services to their employees. And so what I'd like to do is work with them to see how we can assist with them implementing green practices. And that would be considered another financial empowerment center model. Empowerment center model.
So just to get further clarity, because I think there's a lot of opportunities there, you're really, going out into the community, engaging and looking at places where you can build bridges and add and increase opportunities. And, obviously financial resources are a big constraint in many cases. Are you looking at other ways of bridging these, the ability of low-income folks to undertake energy initiatives through these empowerment centers? Are there
Definitely.
grants or what tools do you have at your disposal to use for energy
What is an
improvements?
example of energy efficiency initiatives?
Well, low-income people can't afford to put solar PV on their roof, whereas other people can, and so they get the value and the benefit, and the low-income basically, get stuck with higher rates.
So I think we have to meet low-income families where they're at, and most of them don't own their homes. So maybe working with their landowners or managers of their housing projects, complexes in which they live, to get PV on their homes. That could be an example. Because low-income families are, they're not quite there yet. That's why the outreach and engagement is the first step.
Yeah.
And once we hit there, then we'd have to reassess and see what they would be ready for. I don't know how to say it more PC, but
Yeah. There's opportunities to link people up with the resources that already exist, and then there's other opportunities to create new resources.
that's right.
There's many that exist already, Hawaii Energy, on and on, that may be able to provide value, and so some of these areas, I think it's a good way to engage the community and to get education out there as well as assistance at the same time. So it sounds really good.
I think another interest of families has been learning how to grow their own food and raising awareness about recycling.
You deal with those at the same time in the same kind of
Definitely.
engagement process?
Definitely.
So your scope is bigger than Will's in that regard, in that you're addressing sustainability from a number of different perspectives, right? Okay. Other questions for Freisha?
Sorry, I had
No,
my
I
back into
think Julie had, when Julie talks next time, she just recently gave a seminar on her experiences with GPS monitoring of the DWS fleet, which I think Curt and maybe Hank had mentioned that was one of the things that could drive some efficiency. So I think there's a good story in there about what her results are so far. And fleet monitoring is something we have in our Green Government Action
Do you envision, I don't know if you were privy to seeing the 5-year roadmap that the Kohala Center produced for energy sustainability program in Hawaii County. But it talked about increasing the level of staffing for the whole programmatic area, which
Yeah, I saw that.
included a, a more a position like yours as well, but other positions in addition to that. Do you, at this point, and I know it's early on in your work in this area, do you see that there is a definite need for increased staffing in that area to be able to do all the things you can even envision at this point in time?
Sure. Increased staffing would be great, I think, for all of us. The thing in R&D is that we all work together and we sort of share initiatives. And so if we were to have more staff, we'd all sort of have our hands in different pots anyway. But we could definitely use the help because we're burning the light at both ends of the candle at this point.
But we'd be talking about almost taking energy out of R&D and putting it into its own functional operational area,
I see.
where it can be a more determined focus and a more uncompromised approach to setting policy and everything else. So in that context, just envisioning what could occur based on what you know now and what the needs are out there, do you support or see that there's a need for staffing up in that area?
I can also see more staffing in agriculture, needed in agriculture. These industries that we're working in R&D, they're huge. And I really think not just for energy, but also for ag and also for tourism. So that, I don't know how to answer your question. I would support it, and I think it's a need, but I think it's not just for energy, it's for many of our program areas in R&D. Is that a PC question? PC answer, I mean.
Yes, that's fine. I applaud you, you're really,
He was the county's first energy coordinator.
Ah, okay.
yeah, I know about those kind of answers.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I'm not the director, so I don't know what to say.
It's perfectly fine, thank you.
Sure.
Are there other questions for Freesia? Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
hope you can come to our meetings
Definitely.
in the future,
Mhm.
and we look forward to working with you, and we're glad to have you on board and your expertise and skills assisting in all of these efforts.
And as individuals too, we offer you, a telephone number to call us at any time.
Okay,
If you need some follow-up or direction,
sure.
we'd be glad to help you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. So we're at 1:04. I'm going to close the meeting, but before we do, I'm just going to touch on a couple of things really quick. One of the business items that we skipped over was recommendations that we can make based on the discussions with the department folks last time. We did outline things and I was waiting for the minutes to actually get that list. So I think I'm actually in a better position to come up with a draft like I had suggested I would at the last meeting of this set of recommendations. So why don't, since we didn't have time to actually discuss it again and now we have the minutes to refer back to, I'll go ahead and try and put a draft of that together and we can discuss it at the next meeting. And then we can move it forward that way. Does that make sense? I had offered to do that at the last meeting, I just, with all this other,
This was the
Reporting.
recommendation to the mayor?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, about budgeting, department budgeting recommendations. So, I'll try and get to that for the next meeting and have a draft we can circulate. And then the other thing is, time and location for the next meeting. Being that it's possible that that would be our last meeting, I thought it would be good if we all were in the same place for that meeting. So if that's something you can arrange for, Dawn, I think that would be useful. It's been a while since we've all been in the same room anyway.
I have tentatively secured NHERC back in Wanakon.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear back, but that was over and aside, making sure we had the Hilo and Kona rooms, just in case you wanted to be a joint meeting. So yeah, well, I put in a request, I haven't heard back yet.
Okay, and that was for what date?
It's on here on the agenda, November 21st, the day before Thanksgiving.
21st, okay. All right, so we'll aim for that and wait to hear back from you. And as far as agenda items for the next meeting, we want to approve the finalized transition report. If we can approve the department budgeting recommendation letter to the mayor, based on what gets circulated, we'll attempt to do that. And I think it'd be worthwhile discussing the next steps for the commission after the election. That will be after the election, and we'll have a better feel for what is likely to occur, whether or not we continue on or not, and if so, we should talk about what we're going to do next as a commission. And I know we have this couple of lingering things. One is an update from Ron Thiel, and at the appropriate time, we will ask him to come back in, probably not at the next meeting. And the forum planning stuff, just gets put off because we run out of time each time. So we'll see what we can get to at the next meeting with these agenda items. Anyone have any other agenda items they'd like to suggest? Okay. Well, I would like to entertain a motion then to close the meeting.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion associated with this meeting? If not, the meeting is adjourned.
And thank you for your leadership and guidance.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all, everybody. Thanks for coming. Hopefully we'll have more folks show up at the next meeting so we don't have to worry about the forum issues.